Hey, everybody. Welcome back again to a little Austin Sports Weekend with Austin, the man here himself. We just finished up the first round
of the NFL
of
playoffs.
the NFL playoffs. And
And
we had some really good games. We had some really good games.
and we had
A,
blowouts
a couple
too.
blowouts, a couple really good games. But we're gonna recap the wild card round and then dive into the divisional round. But before we get started, though, thanks again for SevereTV.com for setting us up here in studio. Thanks again for Autographs Plus sponsoring us. We're transitioning into basketball here too, so we got a couple basketballs. Got Dr. J ABA ball. That's one of my favorite balls, and then the Shaquille O'Neal Molten Gold ball. If you got any Christmas money burning a hole in your pocket, and holler out Autographs Plus there. But let's jump into here. On Saturday, January the 11th, we had. This is probably one of my shockers. The Chargers at the Texans.
Justin Herbert comes into this game throwing only 3 interceptions the whole season,
Yeah.
and he throws 4 in this loss.
Yeah, only one TD and 4 picks.
One of them being a pick. One of them being a pick six because the receiver can't catch the ball, and two of them have interception wise. 2 of those interceptions were bounced off a receiver's hands.
That's one thing I'm not going to blame it on Herbert because that was probably the worst performance by a group of receivers that I've seen in a long time.
Outside of McConkey, who else do they have?
There was nothing. Nobody caught anything. The ball was bouncing off their chest, bouncing here, bouncing. Like you said, 3 of the interceptions, really, 3 of the 4 interceptions were because of the receivers. It had nothing to do with the quarterback. But props to the Texans. The Texans defense is for real. They got a really good defense.
They had a really good game against the Chargers.
What's been holding them back this entire year was their offense. Their offensive line's terrible. They were struggling offensively the biggest part of this year. C.J. Stroud still looks good. I mean, the sophomore slump kicked in a little bit. Almost all NFL quarterbacks have that sophomore.
But when you don't have an offensive
But when you don't
line,
have an offensive line and you're running for your life 75% of the time,
you can't get your feet set to
Yeah.
throw the ball, and it really
This was a complete game, though.
a very complete game.
It was a complete game for them.
Houston has won a wild card game in 2 straight seasons.
Yeah, he was 22 of 33 for 85 yards. That's a good, solid playoff game.
The Texans have never won, I believe, 2 straight years in the wild card in their franchise history.
No.
Barring the fact that they only came into the league in 2002.
Still, though, they've had some good quality players on the Texas team. J.J. Watt was pretty good, I think.
Andre Johnson.
Andre Johnson was pretty good. Of course, they traded him away for a cheese sandwich.
But this is the
Bill
current Texans.
O'Brien. Yeah, we'll get our Bill O'Brien destroyed that version of the Texans. But congrats to the Texans. They are on to the divisional round now.
We'll talk about that later.
Talk about that in a second. We had the Steelers Ravens. This one turned out about the way that we thought it would.
Baltimore jumped out to a very quick lead.
Yeah. Derrick Henry was Derrick Henry-ish.
Yes, very much so.
So,
And the Steelers' offense struggled for a good portion of the night.
yeah, Derrick Henry had 26 carries for 186 yards, a couple TDs with a long run of 44. So, he looked like Derrick Henry. Scary.
Yep.
Very, very, very scary.
Is it time to worry? Is it time to worry about the Steelers'
Yeah.
direction as a franchise?
I think so. I don't. I mean, they have. I mean, how about 18 years without a losing record?
But Tomlin's
but-
playoff record, he's lost 6 straight playoff games.
So yeah, it may be time for a change.
Do you
know,
think it is? I think it is, possibly.
I honestly think it probably is. Again, congrats to the Ravens. Lamar Jackson didn't have to do a lot. He threw for 175 yards
Because they ran the ball too well.
because they ran it for 300. Well, sorry, 299 yards. They ran the ball for 300 yards. If you run the ball for 300 yards, you don't have to throw for too much.
No, you
So-
just run the football.
You just run the ball.
Run the football. That's a good strategy. Just run the football.
Yeah. But again, yeah, Pittsburgh, it may be rebuild time. It may be there was even rumors that they might be looking to trade Tomlin. Tomlin quickly said on an interview, "You can forget about that crap." So I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know if they go on from him either. They may give him one more year just to see if
he
it's
can-
players or if it's coaching. But it's 6 years in a row.
6 playoff losses and 6 straight playoff appearances.
Yeah,
So
so I don't know. Maybe we'll have to see. Sunday, the Broncos at the Bills.
Broncos jumped up to a 7-0 start. That's about as good as it got.
And then they outscored 31-0. This was a little less competitive than what I thought it'd be. I thought the Broncos would be a little bit better, but the Bills put a little chokehold on them. They were balanced. Allen threw for 272 and
No turnovers.
Cook ran for 120.
That's balanced. Well, that's have a 100-yard back with a
Mm.
200-yard passer.
And 2 receivers that one had 70 yards, one had 60 yards basically. So, yeah, I mean, they were a completely balanced team. 20 for 26. That's not a bad completion percentage. You know what I'm saying? So, he had a 135.4 QBR rating. If Josh Allen has a 135 QBR rating against you, you're going to lose.
Yes, unless it's the Chiefs.
Josh-
I'm sorry to
Yeah.
mention that.
Josh Allen threw for 272 and ran for 46. So Josh Allen was Josh Allen in that game. It was a very fun game.
The Broncos are young and they're trying to build.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of thinking of Denver so far.
Now-
Going into next year.
Bo Nix was 13 of 22, which is only 50-something% completion there.
Only threw for 144 yards, which
Yeah,
Buffalo's pass defense stepped up.
they did. They stepped up. They only had 80 yards rushing too. So the Bills' defense, which we were questioning just a tad bit.
Definitely put their impact on the Broncos.
Yeah, they only gave up 160 total yards receiving and only 79 yards total rushing. So that's pretty good. That's
Buffalo
pretty good
moves
defense
on
there.
to host the divisional round matchup, which we'll talk about.
Which we'll talk about in just a second. We had the Packers at the Eagles. I honestly thought the Packers would give us a little more life than this too.
I don't think there was much in this game, really, if I were to be honest, because
No.
the opening kickoff pretty much told the tale of the game.
Yeah. Big
Fumbled
thing.
on the opening kickoff.
Fumbled on opening kickoff, and that was the end of it. Jordan Love was 20 of 33, but only had 200 yards passing,
With
which means there was a lot of short
With 3 interceptions.
three picks, a lot of short passes. It looks like the Eagles' defense covered the middle of the field to deep and only let them throw under. And then when they tried to throw over, they picked them off. So
Well, who's the defensive coordinator that I like? Vic Fangio.
he is a pretty good defensive coordinator. Again, Hurts didn't have to do much. He only threw for 131 yards. But Saquon ran for a $120.
Hasn't he done that all season, though?
Yeah. But the thing is, if there's a team comes up that's got a great run defense and they can tie them up any at all,
They got to get the pass
how
game.
healthy is Hurts? Is he?
Can Kellen Moore get the pass game going?
Probably not. We had the command, but congrats to the Eagles again.
Yeah, the Eagles have they've been a very. I'll give credit to the organization for the Eagles. They are a very
They're
functional.
consistently pretty
They're-
good.
all from the Andy Reid years, all the way to the
Mm-hmm.
Doug Peterson years, and now even to the Sirianni years now. The Eagles have shown that they can continuously build
They
a
can
franchise.
compete. They can compete, and that's what you want. You want to compete, get into the playoffs, have a chance.
And that's what they've done.
And that's
under
what they've done.
Jeffrey Lurie and the Eagles.
And congrats to the NFC East. Commanders at the Bucks. You got 2 NFC East teams going into
The final
the divisional round.
divisional round, and this was an exciting game.
This was a very exciting game.
The young Jaden Daniels, he definitely lived up to his hype on the last drive, leading them seamlessly down the field for the game-winning doink field
He
goal.
threw for 268 and ran for 36 himself. So
He's pretty much a
he
diet
was
Josh
the
Allen
star.
right
He
now.
was the he is a diet Josh Allen. He's skinnier and he's younger. He is the diet Josh. He is pretty good. I mean, for a rookie to come up
And to lead that drive and to get that field goal to win the game on the road.
on the road, That's pretty
Do
good.
you think the W's have a good future on their hands?
I
now?
think they might. Well, they've got some pretty good coaching too.
Yeah, Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury, but they're also free of Dan Snyder, which is a positive.
That it's funny how you get rid of all the negativity in something, how it seems to blossom and grow. It's funny, ain't it? But congrats to the Commanders. They are going on now to the
Divisional round, their first playoff win in a long,
long
time.
time. And then finally, we have Monday night. We had the Vikings at the Rams. And this was probably the biggest letdown at the end of the season because you had a 14-win wild card team
In Minnesota that came in with momentum. Actually, they didn't come in with momentum. They came
into the end of the season 14-1 with momentum, and lost 2 straight games. You're at the house. How about them apples?
Yeah, that's. Do you want me to tell you?
They got manhandled too at
Manhandled. It's technically not in LA because carrying
The fires, yeah.
prayers for all those dealing with those fires.
Yeah,
over
there's
in
some
Los
bad
Angeles.
fires out there. Yeah, prayers for those people.
And while the Rams carrying their community on their back completely manhandled the Minnesota Vikings,
Yeah,
their defensive line for the Rams was a very notable point.
9 sacks
Count them, folks. This is Kendall.
for 82 negative yards. How about them apples? That might, help out your defense. That might, help out your offense if you're getting
Sacking.
9 sacks. They had 6 sacks in the first half. They were just Minnesota didn't know what to do. It was just
And Sam Darnold was, due to that being pretty inaccurate.
he threw for 245 yards, but only had a net of 163 because of the sacks.
Because he got hit
He
over
got-
and
there's
over
80
and over
He lost
and
80
over
lost
again.
82 yards because of the sack.
Got to fix that offensive line next year.
But a 9-7 team beat a 14-2 team.
The Rams, Sean McVay wins another playoff game.
How about that? Sean McVay's a pretty good coach, I think.
He's won one Super Bowl. He's went to 2.
Puka Nakua came back healthy, and they've
And the
gradually
Rams
been
have
catching on fire.
The Rams have been better.
Byron Young, Govals, went in there and had him a couple quick sacks early and set the tone.
And
That
then
was-
the rookie Verse from Florida State got a strip sack fumble return for a touchdown.
It was good. So congrats again.
The Rams defensive line
To the
won
Rams.
that game.
All right, let's go ahead and look ahead to our divisional rounds games. For the Texans, their reward for winning another playoff game going to the Chiefs.
They're going to be America's favorite, let me tell you that much in that game.
Yeah. Again, I don't hate the Chiefs. It's a good Christian-owned team. It's a good Christian-ran team. But I think people are tired of eating the same food every night. They're looking for, something else, looking for a different flavor.
Yeah, it's like you're eating a hamburger every night. And
Every
you crave
so now-
pizza.
I mean, it's a great hamburger, but man, after you eat that
I
hamburger
want a
for
pizza.
3 years straight, I want something different.
I want a pizza. Give me
Yeah.
a taco.
So yeah, the Chiefs are favored by 8, and honestly, that Texas game was the best game they've played all season.
And they're coming off of that.
I don't know if they can come up with 2 in a row.
Do you think the Chiefs win this game?
I think the Chiefs win this game. I do.
Despite Nagy being arguably.
He is one of the worst coordinators in the game. He is one of the worst. He is one of the worst coordinators in the game.
Well, with Todd Downing and Nathaniel Hackett,
They're
most
the
likely
worst.
Gone.
They're the worst.
They're most likely
They're-
gone
oh,
right
yeah,
now.
they're gone.
So that means Nagy is going to get.
Just to the side note, do you think somebody will hire Nagy? And they will because people are, yeah. But the Chiefs -8, I'm almost okay with that
This is Patrick
too.
Mahomes we're talking about.
It's Patrick Mahomes.
He's been an emperor lately.
He is. He
He's
is.
won a bunch of playoff games.
And no matter what happens, there seems like something happens where they can win. If the Texans play the same quality of football they played
They'll
this
get a
week,
chance.
they're going to have a chance. If they regress and the offense gives up
Sack after
sack after sack after sack, then they'll lose by 10+ points. I'm probably going to lean toward the Chiefs -8 just because of the history of what's happened this year.
If the Texans defeat the Chiefs, let me tell you this: every fan in the world is going to give them a party.
Yep.
Throw a party, host a luau.
Because that means the next game in the FC is huge. Whoever wins the next game would be home field. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the other Saturday game first. So we got an NFC game Saturday. We got the Commanders. Their reward for winning on the road is going to
the Lions.
the Lions.
That offense is pretty crisp.
That is our biggest line of the week, down to 9.5 points.
I'm not taking that line.
I don't like that line either.
Washington is too competitive a football team to lose by 10 points.
And the Lions got a lot of
injuries on the
defensive side of the ball.
But Ben Johnson has shown himself to be one of the hottest candidates. He's like a Pop-Tart out of the oven.
I think he will be. I think he's a strawberry frosted Pop-Tart. Everybody loves him right now.
He's a Waffle House waffle right out of the fryer.
Yeah, everybody is loving him right now, and you don't hardly blame them for loving him because
he's got the highest scoring offense in the league.
He has the highest scoring offense in the league. Let's see here. Let's see what. Just out of curiosity, I can't see it there, but so there's so many. I was trying to see all the injuries, but the Lions have a lot of injuries on the defense, and the Commanders just look pretty good. I would probably take the Commanders plus 9.5, even though I think the Lions will
win that game because
by 5 or 6 points.
I don't know if Washington's defense has enough to handle the Lions' offensive versatility.
No, if the Bucks would have had a little more consistency in offense, they would have beat the Commanders handily.
But they didn't.
The Lions do have that consistency.
And the Lions have a bevy of weapons.
Yes. So I would probably take the Lions.
So you better get to Jared Goff.
Minus 5 or 6.
Probably
not going to take them minus 9.
In other words, you better get to Jared Goff or he's going to find someone.
You better get to him quick, yeah. Sunday, we got them old Rams. Their reward is to go to the Eagles. This is my upset pick of the week.
You want to pick the Rams? Are you picking the Rams?
I'm going to pick the Rams, dude.
I don't know. I'm still feeling the Eagles here, so I will have a separate picks.
I'll say it's minus 6.5. So the odds are the Eagles by a touchdown, basically. I'm thinking it's more of a 3 to 4 point game, even if the Eagles do win. But through these 4 games, there will be one upset. Do you think the Chiefs lose? No.
Well, a part of me wants them to.
I would like
them
to, but logically, do you think they will lose?
Logically, probably not.
Do you think the Lions will lose?
Probably not, barring any injuries.
So that means one of these last 2 games will probably be an upset. It's very rarely do you have all
technically this
4.
last one technically is not an upset.
No, but at home. Normally there's one road team wins. So either the Rams beat the Eagles, or our last game, the Ravens-Bills. Ravens are favored by 1 point.
Both quarterbacks are trying to get the playoff monkey off their back.
The Bills' defense isn't the best in the world either, even though they played really, really good.
The Bills' defense isn't the greatest.
Last week.
The Ravens' pass defense has been having struggles, so that's where Josh Allen's big old cannon can come into play.
The Ravens are a favorite minus 1. I like the Bills straight up.
Because the Bills have home field. Yeah. In that snowy cold, it's pretty hard to win.
The Ravens do have the recipe for cold weather, though.
Derrick Henry, run the ball. Keep it out of Josh Allen's hands.
Run the ball.
Use Lamar Jackson's legs.
Shorten the game. Shorten the number of possessions. Put the pressure on the Bills' offense to score. So that's why the Ravens are minus 1, because they have the perfect recipe for cold weather football games. But I am Josh Allen has been so good this year. I think whoever wins this game might be the MVP quarterback wise. What do you think about that? I definitely think we got this is a MVP race, and the weather is only going to be about 20 degrees at kickoff. So
Lamar and Josh are the two outside of Saquon, the 3 highest people to get the MVP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think whichever quarterback wins this is probably going to be the MVP. I'm going Bills. I think the Bills plus 1. Again, I think the Bills straight up. I think this is going to be an incredibly entertaining game to watch, really fun game to watch, but I would be going towards the Bills. So we're sort of tossed up on the Rams Eagles. I think the Rams might win. You think the Eagles might win. We both probably think the Bills win. We both probably think the Lions win, and we both probably think that the Chiefs win. Even though the Ravens do have the talent to go in there and win. So that could be the road team that wins this week. But we'll see. Otherwise, I mean, this is one of my favorite times of the year for the NFL. Even though my team's not in it, your team's not in it, my daughter Tiffany's team's not in it, our friend Jacob's team's not in it.
It's just, well,
Our producer Adam's team not in it. None of our teams made the playoffs, but it's still fun. This is the fun NFL time of the year.
Let's remind us of your audience about your team looking for a new head man.
Oh yeah, just right here at the end, a few NFL notes. The Cowboys did let Mike McCarthy go.
So they're looking for a new head coach.
So they are looking for a new head coach. Rumors are Dion
possibly could be a Cowboy head coach.
So I don't know if Dion would do it or if he's using that as
leverage
to get maybe a little extra money out of Colorado, an extension. Pay me, instead of paying me X million, pay me X million more to keep me here, because he was pretty adamant about staying there. But we've got a lot of coaching vacancies that we haven't got filled yet.
The Browns recently filled their offensive coordinator position with Tommy Rees, who's had experience under Nick Saban in Alabama.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Vrabel got the position of head coach at the Patriots,
which was fully expected.
That was fully expected there. So
he hasn't gathered his staff up.
No, he hasn't gathered his staff up yet. But other than that, there's not been a lot of positions filled yet, have they? Everybody wants Ben Johnson. Honestly, I think it's going to be the Ben Johnson sweepstakes here. So you're probably not going to get a whole lot of vacancies filled until the Lions lose. The Raiders. I heard a rumor for the Raiders. Who was it? I can't remember now who that rumor was.
They were letting a certain quarterback lead their search instead of Mark Davis. So.
Yes, which is actually pretty good. Maybe is it pretty good if you got somebody that your quarterback can get along with, maybe. So, but yeah, that's it for NFL this week. It's a fun week. It's a fun game. Can't wait to see the games this weekend, and then we'll have the championship games next weekend. That'll be awesome. So be sure and check us out. Thanks again for SevereTV.com for setting us up here. Thanks again for Autographs Plus for sponsoring us. Be sure to check them out. Other than that, we will see you
next week.